We're back. We are back. I don't know what just happened. Um, so we're gonna try to re-invite everyone. That was so weird. Um, let's try it again. Amanda. Um, and hopefully they're able to rejoin.
I'm
Okay.
back.
No,
Oh, no worries.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess the universe wants us to start over. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And I will mute and disappear into the ether.
Okay. Okay, so yes, what got you into content creation?
So, like I was saying before, I loved playing with my littlest pet shops and I loved grabbing the family camera and I would
Hmm.
literally write scripts on like Word on the camera and print them out and do like a whole thing and upload them on YouTube. And
Hmm.
I would make like that kind of content, my personal kinds of content that I would like throughout like middle school, which
Hmm.
those are never seeing the light of day. They're
Ah.
never seeing the light of day. But when it really started to take off was whenever I got onto TikTok. I was 16 when I got onto TikTok. And I just started creating for fun. I started creating these motivational videos that I would originally film to pump myself up in the morning. And I just started sharing them
Hmm.
online. And eventually, by the time I turned 17, around Black History Month of that year, I created the series called Fast Black History, where I taught
Hmm.
Black history figures and events in 60 seconds or less. And over 100 videos in that series up until this point, like 6 years later. And it's just been a journey ever since then.
Yes. Okay. So you definitely knew from a young age. Okay, I'm gonna do something with social media. Like you
Oh,
were
yeah.
interested in it. Oh, that's really cool. Actually, I feel like a lot of us had our like, kind of YouTube phase, but like I think you took it next level when you were like, no, I'm gonna grab the family camera. I'm gonna print out this script. So I love that so
Yes.
much. The
I
second
was a
question.
YouTube baby.
Yeah, no, I tried YouTube. I still be trying YouTube. I don't know. It doesn't hit for me like TikTok and Instagram. I think I'm more short form. You know what I mean? Like YouTube,
Yeah.
you gotta bring it. It's like long form. Like you gotta have the
It's something
skill.
serious. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. The second question is, why is it so important that you share Black facts about Black historic figures? Like, what made you say like, yeah, this is what the people need?
Well, it was important to me first and foremost. It was an interest of mine because it was all throughout my household, all throughout my upbringing. Black history education was just something that was normal and in my everyday. So it was important to me because it's my identity. It's part of who I am and how I was raised. But also, I saw a lack that I'm sure probably every person watching this live has seen in school, in museums, in everywhere
Yes.
of the lack of Black history education and the lack of stories of our joy and our excitement, our fun, our victory, cool stories about us that we were never taught. And um, in growing the series, I also learned so much in doing my own research. But before then, I knew stories that I thought were so cool that I thought that everyone knew. And when I very quickly learned that they didn't, I just thought to myself, like, this this facet of who I am that brings me so much joy and so much pride in my identity, I want more people to learn that. And if you're not Black and watching this series, I want you to see Blackness from a different perspective, the perspective that I grew
Mhm.
up learning it from, something that wasn't only rooted in trauma and despair and discrimination. Yes, you need to
Yeah.
learn about those things, but if that's the only thing you learn about, that's the only way you see those people. So
Yep.
you need to learn the joy side. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree 1000%. And I think what's so interesting about you and your content is that like you meet people where they are. So right now, like social media. We're in the social media age, and especially the younger generation. So I think it's important for everybody to just make it digestible for especially the youth, because they're not seeking these things out. And like you said, I wasn't learning it in school, so they're definitely not learning it in school now. So I just think it's so important to have that like social media aspect where they can watch it and still be entertained, but they're also learning something as well.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I used to make Fast Black history videos almost every week. And, over the years, I have slowed down a little bit, focused on different types of content, but Black history and Black culture is still at the root of so many things that I do. And all of those videos are still online. I see people still commenting on them, still
Yeah.
learning new things. So
Hmm.
even if I'm not like, currently all in, it makes me so happy to know that everything that I did is still reaching
Yeah.
people, yeah.
No, girl, those videos are gonna be timeless. Okay, like it's never gonna be like, okay, we're taught. No, like each person, like it's gonna transcend time. I truly believe that. The third question is, how do you stay motivated? Because your content is so like uplifting and a bright light. And so like, how do you keep that? Because every time it comes, like you come across my feed and you're like, girl, what you doing? You better be loving yourself. I'm like, you know what? I was forgetting to do that today.
Well, okay, you see, I've been asked that question a lot, and I've never quite known how to answer it. And I think what I'll say for today, because I feel like it always changes, but I feel like today I'll say every time that I'm on the internet encouraging my audience to cheer up or feel better about themselves, or remind them not to give up, most of the time it's because I feel that way. It's because I feel
Yeah,
like I'm about to give up, or I feel really down in the dumps, or I feel really doubtful. So
yeah.
there has never ever been an instance where I have consistently been positive, consistently kept my joy. I feel
Hmm.
like that's just not a human thing to do. Like, if show me the person that does that, I want to meet them, I will take those
Yeah.
from them. But for me, it's just a matter of persevering and knowing that this is this life has been given to me, and I want to see what happens. That's what I wake up with every day, and that thought may not always just immediately make me happy every day, but
Mm.
it does make me have more of an intention in my mind to notice the small things throughout my day that are good. And sometimes that's enough to just go to sleep and be like, I'm glad I noticed that one thing today. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And before I get to my next question, I just want to touch on that, because what you said just now, and then when I asked you about the black facts and you said, well, it matters to me first. That's always what I tell people, like when they ask about content creation and like anything. I'm like, listen, when I create it, I have to love it first. Like that's so important to me. It starts with me, and then that's how I operate. I know everybody isn't like that, but I just found like with content creation, that's the best way to tackle it, because I'm like, okay, like I know what I like. I'm creating this thing. And when it feels fun to me, I recognize that like the audience can tell that I'm having a good time, and they're having a good time
Yeah.
because I'm having a good time. You know what I mean?
hmm Yeah, for sure. I mean, the audience can tell you, like, it's gotten to the point where people know in 3 seconds when somebody's being inauthentic online. Like, two
Yes.
people could make the exact same video, and one is going to get a lot more love than the other, because you can tell the intention, you can tell the
Hmm.
energy that you bring. So you're completely right. If you're not enjoying it, don't share it with anybody else. You got to love it
Exactly.
first.
Yeah. Unless you want to get picked apart on the internet.
Okay. And sometimes it still might happen, even if you're making something that you
Yeah.
love. But
Right.
at the end of the day, if you loved it, nothing else matters.
Exactly. Like you're not going to care as much, because if they're like, oh, well, you don't really care. You're like, actually, I'm very passionate about this thing, and I've been passionate since I was 8 years old. But okay, go off.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I'm still that next time. I'm gonna steal that.
Right. You have my permission. Take it. Take it. So the next question is, how does it feel to have people say that you are like healing the community, to like admire you and look forward to seeing you on their feed?
Oh my goodness. It's interesting because it makes me think about the kind of community that I've built, and I'm just so grateful, because most of the time when people come up to me, the first thing they do is encourage me. Like the first thing they do is say like, keep going, like you're doing great. They give back the energy that I have put out so far. And especially whenever it comes to people that come up to me and talk about fast Black history, it's really amazing. I had somebody walk up to me and say they grew up on my content. I said, grew up? Wait a minute now. That it made me feel a little old for a second.
Hold up.
But I have to realize, like, dang, like if you, let's say you started watching Fast Black History at 9 years old, you're on TikTok at 9 years old, you would be 15 now. Like it kind
Yeah.
of makes sense. So it makes me feel so honored and kind of outside of my body a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm only 23. And so I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I need to have a couple years on me to really actually truly understand the weight of that. But
Yeah.
the only thing that I can say is that I'm overwhelmed by it and I'm grateful.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that even though I don't have the life experience to truly like sit in it and really understand the full scope of it, I understand my responsibility with it, and to
Mm-hmm.
continue to honor that the legacy of it and the work that it has started, and I want to continue it, you know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that was so good. Like, wow. I love that answer so much. No, that was so good. Um, like, dang, let me write that down now. But no, what made you want to take the facts like offline, not fully offline, but just offline for a minute and then put it into a book, like while also incorporating your own twist, like Tay story, where you actually relate it to like your life, like the historical figure to like how it inspired you. Like, what made you want to come up with that part, the book, and that part, like Tay's story?
Yeah. So I actually have the book right here in case everybody wanted to see what it looked
Me
like.
too. Well, okay,
So
it's
so
gonna
when you
fold a
learn
bunch
this
of
story, this is what it looked
stuff.
like. But with this, I wanted to make it into a book because I was getting to the point with Fast Black History where I understood the nature of the internet, and I knew that I wanted to make this work into something that would last longer than the algorithm does make
Yeah.
things. You
Ooh.
know, that was my first thought. I wanted it to last. I wanted to make
Yeah.
something where the legacy would last. And two, reading is something that is one of the most important things in my life. And especially whenever I was growing up, reading is how I learned Black history. It's how I found authors and stories that I could relate with, because I did go to an all mostly white school and a mostly white community. So reading was the way that I could gain access to people who looked like me, went through the same things as me. And falling in love with reading has been one of the greatest gifts of my life. And I also know that there are a lot of people, a lot more people now that don't like to read, or they have never had that chance or that teacher, that classroom that have been able to train them to like reading, because it is kind of training. You have to practice it. You have to practice enjoying reading. And I wanted to make Fast Black History into something that would, yes, educate, but would not feel like a textbook. And that
Yeah.
would actually feel like, what I like to describe it, would feel like you're watching a social media video. It feels like you're
Mm-hmm.
watching something that's already entertaining. And so when I came up with this, I knew I wanted it to be middle grade to young adult. And I knew that in teaching Black history, you have to find a way, especially whenever you're teaching to a younger audience. And this is something I remember when I was 17. You have to find a way to relate it to your own life now in order for it to stick. There's just, I don't think there's any other way. There's no other way. Even whenever I was 17, and this is where the idea came from actually. Whenever I was 17, the way that I would remember things in history class wasn't just by taking notes. I would make little comics on the side of the history figures we were talking about or whatever
Wow.
events, to make
Mm-hmm.
jokes out of it. And then I would remember it because it would be in my language, it would be in my
Mm-hmm.
humor. I would incorporate things like, I remember I have a doodle. I have a doodle of Abraham Lincoln doing the nay on
Ah.
notebook of mine. But it makes you
Yeah.
remember things, and that
Mm-hmm.
followed me into the web series, and it followed me into this book. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where the taste stories come into play. So whenever you open the book, you'll find in the middle of each chapter about the historical figure a section called Taste Story, which is literally history and my name, Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
And each one is a personal story about my life, an embarrassing moment, something that happened in high school, crushes that I've had, friends that I've had to break up with, having friend breakups, horrible college roommates. All of that is in this book. And by reading them, I draw a connection between what I learned from that lesson in my life to what the Black history figure in question for each chapter is going through, is learning, what they may have been feeling. And the goal for that is to challenge readers and train readers to find historical context in each chapter and connect it to their life, so that they can understand that these great things that these Black figures did, they went through the same anxieties that you do. They went through the same embarrassing moments that you do. And because of that, you can make history too. There's nothing limiting you from doing the same amazing things that they did too. So it serves multiple purposes. It serves
Mm-hmm.
to make the book more fun and interesting, but also to connect you more to the history.
Yes, I love, and I really just again have to give you your flowers because, like I said, you're meeting people where they are, and this is important. And I feel like this is the wave that everybody needs to get on because, like you said, like I remember learning, history was not my favorite subject in school because it was so boring to me. You know what I'm saying? And I just couldn't retain the information. And unfortunately, I wasn't doodling on the side. I was just ignoring the teacher straight up. You know what I'm saying? So if I would have had that method where I was like, okay, let me relate this to something in my life, I definitely would have, like, the information would have stuck. And I just think, like, even when I was going through your book, I'm looking and I'm just like, damn, like, this is really, like, easy to digest in the best possible way. Like, the highest compliment. Like, it's easy to digest. And it's like, anybody could read this and not be confused, but still understand what you're saying and learn something new. And that's so, I just don't think you understand how rare that is. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a reader and I've read books where I'm like, this author might not have known what the hell they was talking about. You know what I'm saying? And so, like,
Like they
for
just
you to
talking.
just, yeah, I'm like, they just talking, and I get it because you got to do that page count. But like for you, I'm like, no, like you're not just talking, like you're actually saying something, and it's meaningful, and you could tell that it means a lot to you. So therefore, I'm like, yeah, like this is. It feels like a hangout. It feels like your friend who
Hey,
loves
yes.
history explaining history to you, and you're like, okay, I'm tuned in because it's my favorite girl. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad to hear you say that because that's literally the goal.
Yes.
Like I did not want it to make it. I did not want it to look like a textbook. I did not want it
Hmm.
to feel like an academic piece. I wanted it to feel
Hmm.
like fun. So that I'm so glad it translates that way.
Yes, amazing. You achieved it. You achieved it. Let me see. Sorry, my handwriting is crazy. Okay. Yeah, so did you ever think that this is what you'd be well, you kind of answered this already, but I'm just going to ask again. Like, did you ever think that is what you'd be doing, like creating, educating, uplifting the community, like to this degree that you're at now?
No. This is not something I expected. I was more of like whenever I was younger, I was a hobby hopper. Like if
Mm,
you oh my gosh, I had about like 10 different careers I wanted to be
mhm.
each week. But the thing that always stuck was storytelling in some way. Like whatever that I did, storytelling was always weaved throughout it. And I think that's something that I always expected to do was storytelling. Like my mom has this story of me whenever I was younger and we were at my granddad's, where
Mhm.
she said that whenever my granddad would look at me, he'd be like, "Tell me a story." And apparently, I have no memory of this, but apparently, I would just start telling these grand stories off the top of my head. Now, they probably weren't good because I was probably like three or something. But I could just talk and talk and talk and talk about these
Mhm.
whatever kind of stories. So I feel like it's just always been a part of me. I love story. I love the craft of it. I love um watching TV and movies and obsessing over them. When I read a good book with a good story, it sticks with me for years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did not expect it to go in this direction, but I am very grateful that the direction it went was something bigger than me, you know.
Mhm.
I'm honored that it went that way.
Yes, that's amazing. And that's so funny to hear. Like, yeah, I was telling stories before I even knew that I was telling stories. Like,
You
it's
literally.
truly like it means it was meant. You know what I'm saying? It was meant for you. It was destined. So I love that so much too. Which brings me to my next question: how did your friends and family react to like your content slash success? Like sometimes loved ones are like, oh well, yeah, that's Tay. She been doing that. And then sometimes like if you're kind of on the quiet side and someone sees your socials, they're like, I did not know that this is what you had going on every night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely people who were close to me were not surprised. They
Okay.
may have been surprised by like the virality of it all, because like anybody would be surprised
hmm
about that. But I mean, how I got online was how I was with the people that were around me in real life. I think the
hmm
only people that were very like maybe gave me kind of like side eye kind of responses were people that were not very close to me, like classmates in school or even some
Yeah.
teachers in school, you know. But I didn't really have to worry about that, to be honest, because it was the pandemic and I wasn't even in school
Yeah.
anyway. So I was kind of
Sure.
like in this incubator, this supportive
hmm
incubator of friends
Right?
and family to
The echo
expand and
chamber
do my
of
thing.
love.
Quite literally. Quite literally. So I'm honestly like, that's a huge blessing too. I think about that a lot. I'm like, dang, like what would this have been like if this was popping off and
Yeah.
I would have had to go to school every day during 2020 during that election? Because my school was
Ooh.
very much leaning a certain way, you know. So
Yeah.
I think about that a lot. I'm like, I was
Yeah.
very blessed. I was very blessed.
Yeah, I think everything happens for a reason. Like there was the pandemic, I don't know why that happened, but everything else like in life happens for a reason. You like, so I
Yeah.
love that answer. Um, so the next okay, yes. The next one. So I've been online for a while. And in 2020 it was hard for black creators, like in terms of like stealing content, having like dances stolen, everything, and like seeing white creators get famous and make money and popular off of black, creators' content. So my question for you is, do you think that we are moving into or we're in a time where black creators are able to shine a bit more and actually make a career out of content creation?
Mm. Um, I'm gonna say this.
No, that's
I think
honest. That's listen.
let me say this. I have seen the diversity and range in Black content creators grow. Like, I have seen content creators become successful and be able to grow a loving and strong community on subject matter that you probably wouldn't have in 2020.
Mm,
Like, I'm seeing
mhm.
Black cosplayers have a
Yes.
wide community. The Black foragers, Alexis Nicole, she's got a humongous community that may not have been able to
Mhm.
be as successful before 2020. Um,
Yeah.
However, I think that on making it work for you as a living, there are definitely hurdles still to this day, some higher than before 2020. Because to be completely honest with you, in 2020, the pressure was on with brands to support Black creators. The pressure was
Yeah.
on to give them opportunities and give them jobs. And once certain administration shifted and that pressure went away, so did opportunities and so did support from certain brands. And so just within my creator community, I would say it's a lot more competitive now to make a living as a creator. And that's definitely not to say that you shouldn't become one, or that you should not try, or that it's impossible, because there are many Black creators becoming extremely successful. But I will say there is a lot further to go. And there's a lot more consistency that needs to be had without putting Black creators in a pigeonhole to do it.
hmm Wow, that was an amazing answer, and I agree 1000%. I keep saying that with everybody I talk to because y'all be having some points that I just agree 1000% with. Um, but no, and what you said about like the administration and the brands is so real because this past Black History Month, so many brands opted out of Black History Month and didn't even say, not only didn't have like Black creators, but didn't even say anything, didn't acknowledge it. And it's really like, okay, wow. So when you don't seemingly like have to, and it's not a requirement, like we see how you move, we see how you really feel. And that was something that wasn't, I can't really say I'm surprised in 2026. But it was something that was very disappointing and a little bit more eye-opening, where I was like, oh, okay, like y'all were just doing this because you felt like you had to. So that
Yeah,
was
it
crazy.
was to save their money at the end of the day. Unfortunately, it does
Mm-hmm.
always come down to money. What's going to protect the money?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is disappointing. It's disappointing, but sadly,
Yeah.
it's not surprising.
At all.
Yeah.
My next question would be, any advice for Black content creators who have ideas and want to create, but they're like a bit scared to take that leap for whatever reason? Like some people don't like being on camera. Some people are like, I feel like my content's stupid. Like, so do you have any advice for those Black creators?
I would say, I'm gonna repeat what my mom said to me once. I remember it was the first time I was in it was the first time I had roommates, which was in my freshman year of college. And I always used to feel so embarrassed putting up my tripod and dressing up as the historical character to film my videos. I was always so
Mm-hmm.
embarrassed that like a roommate would walk out and watch me and see me. And I was telling her about this and being like, I'm just so nervous. Like it's so like I don't want her to come out and see me. And I remember I was on the phone with her and she just said, "Oh, so you don't want it bad enough?"
Ooh.
That kind of
Oh,
got
she
me.
ate you up. Yeah, she ate you
That
up.
that
Mama
gathered me
Cassidy,
up
no.
quickly. That gathered me up so quickly.
Damn.
It's
But
and
it was
she was
needed.
so
It was
yes, she
needed.
was so right because at the end of the day, you can say things like I'm afraid to be on camera. I'm not used to hearing my own voice. I'm not used to looking at myself. I don't know how to edit. I don't know how to do all of these things. You have to ask yourself the question, are you going to say yes to taking yourself to a next step by just doing one little step forward? Or are you going to say yes to staying in the same place you're in? Now that's from Shonda Rhimes' book, Year of Yes. I
Okay.
can't take credit for
Okay.
that.
I'm about to read that this year too. So she gonna gather me together too. But I'm still on, oh, so you don't want it bad enough. And it was like, it was just, that's it,
Yes.
left it right there. She didn't have to say nothing else.
Because it's true.
She said, oh,
It's
so you
truly
playing around.
true.
This is a
Yeah,
hobby for you then.
yes. Yes. If you want it bad enough, other people's opinions will not matter. Or if you want it bad enough, you will learn to deal with the embarrassment and you will learn to find
Yeah.
ways to cope with being seen and the struggles that come with it. Um,
Yes.
if you don't want it bad enough, that's okay. Maybe content creating is not for
Hmm.
you. Content creating is not for everybody, and that's okay. Maybe your joy will come from helping a friend with a big project that will lead you to
Yeah.
figuring out where your calling is. But
Hmm.
if you feel in your veins that content creating is something that you want to pursue, you want the lifestyle, you want the creative connections that come with it, all of those things, the community that comes with it, then you got to lock in. Content creating is hard, and
Yeah.
the sooner you accept that it is a hard thing, you can get past that scariness and say, okay, what's one little step I can take? And
Yeah.
after that, how can I celebrate that little step so that I can feel better taking the next one? You know?
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so real. And it's also this quote that I love so much, when it was like, it's cringe until it's trending. And that's so true. Like everything is cringe until people start doing it. And it only takes like that one video for people to start doing it. And I just feel like sometimes what frustrates me about people is and I guess maybe for me, like growing up fat, I had to kill every noise. I was like, listen, I'm either gonna let people's opinions, like I'm gonna internalize that and that's how I'm gonna live my life, or I'm gonna say, forget everybody, I don't care. When people
Mm,
let people like dictate how they move, and they're like, no, like people are gonna think this is stupid, and they're gonna, and I'm like, so who cares what people think? What do you think? That's my, like, yeah, I just get so frustrated. I'm like, listen. Or like if I have friends where they're like, I don't like being on camera, girl, and I'm like, so what? Like just try. Like you're never gonna not like, you're never gonna like being on camera if you keep shying away from the camera. You know what I mean? Like if
mm.
you let yourself get comfortable with not doing things, you're not gonna get used to doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. You're completely right. You're completely right.
But still, I'm still on what your mama said, girl. It's gonna stick with me. Tonight, I'm gonna lay my head down and I'm be like, damn, do I want it bad enough? Am I playing around? Like that was, yeah, she ate. She ate with that one.
She is the OG. I do all these pep talks on my Instagram. She's the OG. She's the OG.
Yeah. No, I love that so much. And another I think this is my last question that I have for you, and then we can maybe open it up if we have time to people in the audience. Is that what it's called? Audience? Sure. So is there anything you are currently working on now that you can share with us?
Well, if you are in New York City, my work is going to be shown at Tribeca Festival. So I'm so excited, and you can buy tickets to watch it in the theater.
Yeah.
Yes, in the
Okay.
theaters. AMC.
Okay.
You can find that on the Tribeca website, like the Instagram page,
Mhm.
or I just posted about it on my Instagram. Um, you can buy my book in Barnes and
Yeah.
Noble. And I did see somebody in the comments asked earlier, I saw that they said, are there doodles in it? There are. There are doodles in it all throughout. Just want to say. But yeah, just you can find me at Taylor Cassidy J. I also have a YouTube channel. And yeah. Yeah.
Yes. I love this conversation so much. And I really just had a great time. And I want to say, like, anybody in the comment sections, if you have any questions you want to ask Taylor, you could just drop them below. But truly, it was truly so amazing speaking with you. Like I said, I'm a fan. I follow you, girl. I'm a fan. Everything that you're doing, I'm a supporter. Whatever you want to do, you got a fan of me forever. Okay. Just know.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
And I don't know how much time we have left, Jackie. Are you okay? I think you're on mute.
Uh-oh.
Dude, every time I pop in, I like scare myself because I'm just like, I don't know what I'm gonna look like when I get in there. I think I have a question. So you are Emmy nominated. What does that feel like? Just being an Emmy nominated Black woman.
Please tell us.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm not called. Oh my gosh. Because right when you said Emmy nominated Black woman, I don't think I've ever called myself that before. That just hit just
Mhm.
now. I was like, oh wait, oh yeah. But to be honest, I forget a lot. I sometimes like it'll be the middle of the day and I'm like, I'm Emmy nominated. And I feel like that's the best I could describe it. But it feels genuinely it feels amazing. It feels incredible. And it just makes me want to continue creating and actually become Emmy award winning next time. You know,
Hello, you
so I
will.
feel like it's like a fire under my fire under myself to keep going.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's definitely coming. I feel it. It's definitely
Oh
multiple
yes.
Emmys, multiple.
Okay.
You're the Black history that you be talking about. You.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Um, so we're gonna wrap it up right now. Thank you so much for joining us. I
Oh,
just love your content. Literally, you make me smile. Yes, but we love your work. Icon. So I never know how to end these things. So I'm just gonna say goodbye.
bye. Thank you for
Bye.
having me.
Thank you for
Of
having
course,
me.
replays will
Thank you
be
guys.
ticket to ticket holders. All right, bye.